It is the 7th week of Easter, and whilst we're almost getting towards the end of Eastertide, there's still lots to celebrate on this week's Extraordinary. This week we celebrate something very special in the Catholic Church. We celebrate World Communications Day on the 2nd of June. Now that's a really important theme for so many reasons. How we communicate with the world, how we tell people about Jesus, how we even understand what's true and what's not is such a massive deal at the moment that actually it's the perfect day to pray for how we communicate and to ask God to inspire us to communicate a little bit better. This week's saints are all examples of people who've either done amazing communicating or who've had that message communicated to them, and when they've heard it, they've listened to it. When they've listened to it and it's changed their lives, that's why they've gone on to become the saints and people that we celebrate this week. It just goes to show the importance of a message and the importance that we've got in terms of bringing that message to other people, because you never know when someone might hear something we say and it might change their lives. So, this week's, let's have a look. First, on Monday, we celebrate the feast of St. Charles Lwanga. Now, he was a saint from Uganda in Africa, an amazing man. One of the people that was an early Christian in that part of the world. Missionaries had gone over, taking the message of Christianity. He took it to his heart. He decided he wanted to follow Jesus. He was baptized. But of course, the people around him didn't always receive that message in the same way. He was martyred for his faith and refused to give up what he believed. But in doing so, his life became an example of a message. His example became the message which communicated the strength of his faith. Saint Boniface is the saint who we remember on the 5th of June, this week. And the amazing thing about Saint Boniface is he was kind of the other way around. Whilst Saint Charles Lwanga was someone who received the message, Saint Boniface was someone who went out to go and give it. So he was born in England but went over to Germany to tell the people in that part of the world, in the Rhineland, all about what Jesus was saying. And he did an incredible job converting people, bringing Christianity to that part of the world. But as we find all the time, sometimes people don't want to hear the message that they are hearing, and they respond with fear and with ignorance. And he again was martyred for his faith. So an incredible guy who was brave enough to take a message even though it was going to be unpopular. On Thursday we hit our third and final saint, and he is Saint Norbert. Now Saint Norbert, we've got a couple of churches and parishes in our own diocese named after Saint Norbert. He was born in Germany, so kind of the other way around. And his is a really interesting story because he was, how to put it, he was quite rich and quite comfortable and quite enjoyed life. Like maybe too much. Like he enjoyed the pleasures, he liked to dress well, he liked to spend lots of money, he liked to eat and drink well. He was not the kind of guy you'd think, there's a saint. And actually what was really cool is that during a thunderstorm, whilst he was riding around on one of his many fancy horses, he was struck off his horse and had a vision very similar to the way Saul had a vision of Christ and became Paul, and heard the message of Christ. He heard Christ speaking to him, literally speaking to him, saying, look, sort your life out, mate. Go and do some good stuff, bring peace to the world and focus on what's important. And he responded with exactly the same words that Saul did. He asked God to give him the strength just to go and be that good person, went straight back home, changed his life because of the message he heard. This week, have a think about the messages that you give out, the things that you say. How do you know what you hear around you is true? And most importantly, how do you make sure that that voice of truth that you have, that example and that witness that you have to our faith is being heard by the people around us? Leave your examples as always and your messages. Remember, it's all about communication this week in the comments box below. And of course, let's celebrate this incredible means of communication by hitting subscribe and hitting that little bell just so you know when we've got a new message to communicate to you. Have a good week.